Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How are y'all doing today? Welcome to the second episode of Touch 'em All, presented by SportsMap Elite. My name is Brandon Capello, affectionately known as BC, and on the other line from beautiful Kentucky, Dalton J. Brown checking in. How you doing today, Dalton?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Excited to jump into some games that are starting in just a few minutes here.
Absolutely, guys. So normally we'd recap how our previous show went, but instead we're going to skip all of that because we've got some games that are going to go off the next 10, 15. So let's get to them real quick. Dalton, lead us off on rotation 951, 952, Giants Mets.
Yeah, so I'm showing the Giants as about a plus 127 underdog here. Mets, I'm looking at around minus 145 or so. We've got an over-under 7.5 was the last I saw. Run line's got the Mets minus 1.5 at plus 163. Giants minus 195 on the run line at plus 1.5. We've got Anthony Disclafani and Carlos Carrasco going in this game. And this is actually one that I do have a bet on that I'll get to in a moment. I think there's you've got two right-handers here on it. Desclafani does not have very good numbers in his career against the Mets, but I imagine it seems like a lot of those numbers came early in his career as a member of the Marlins. He only threw an inning and a third against them last year. I think that was the game he got hurt. So not a whole lot to go off of there, but a note on Desclafani, he hasn't completed 5 innings in either one of his starts so far. He's given up 13 hits and only 8 innings pitched this year. That was not against good lineups. That was against Cleveland and Miami. So a little bit of concern there. He only made 64 pitches in his last start, so I don't know how deep they're necessarily going to push him today. But San Francisco's got the second best bullpen ERA in the league, so I think they're going to be quick with the trigger there, and I think you can trust that bullpen to throw pretty well. That being said, I don't really trust Carrasco a whole lot either. He's looked good this year over 10 and 2/3. He's only allowed a run, but he's faced Arizona and Washington, so I mean you can make of that what you will. I still can't get past how bad he looked in the second half of last year with the Mets. He's just not a starting pitcher that I trust. And so when I look at a game like this where I don't really trust either starting pitcher, I take a look at how do these lineups look. I take a look at how do these bullpens look. San Francisco is 9th in average, 10th in WRC plus against righties so far in the early going this year, and they touched up Bassett yesterday. And San Francisco's got the better bullpen. So to me, I think even if you want to give the Mets a small starting pitching advantage here, I would make the game closer to a pick 'em. So I like San Francisco plus 127 here on the money line.
Gotcha. I am very good. Sorry, I'm trying to tweet out our link so everybody can jump on. Are you seeing it? There it goes. Okay, my bad, guys. Yeah, I've got not a whole lot on that. I know that we cashed with the Giants yesterday. You got Carrasco with the advantage over Desclafani, like you said. I think the bullpen advantage favors the Mets, though more so, but more fresh arms, I believe, as far as pitcher or bullpen usage in the series. I don't have a play on either side, but if you like San Francisco, then I will definitely tell you on that action.
Sounds good.
Moving on, we're just going to fly through these first couple of games real quick before they first pitch in about 10 or so minutes. Next up is going to be 9:53. No, I'm sorry. We got Yankees and Tigers next. Oops, I'm out of order.
Yeah, we got 961, 962 Yankees.
Up with me. 961, 961, 962. Tigers, Yankees are at Yankees and Tigers. Take it away, man.
Yeah, interesting matchup here. I don't have a bet on this game yet. I've got some leans, but Michael Pineda making his Tigers debut for the season. Hasn't pitched since last year. I just don't know how many pitches you're going to get out of him. He's 2-1 with a 4.18 ERA at Comerica for his career, which is roughly his career numbers as a whole. So not a whole lot to take from it. 0-1 with a 5.02 against the Yankees. He pitched into the fifth against them last year, gave up 2 runs. So everything I'm looking at with Pineda feels very Joe right-hander, very pedestrian. I don't think he's going to pitch too deep into that game. Detroit's bullpen's been decent, 9th in ERA so far in the early going this season. Other side of the Yankees, Montgomery's only made 1 start against Detroit in his career, 6 innings, 3 earned, nothing special. You look at his starts this year, Boston got to him pretty good, but Baltimore really didn't. Then again, Baltimore's playing every single game to an under so far this year anyway. So I just don't have a ton to go off of with these two starters. The Yankees offense is just looks pretty middle of the road, especially against righties. There's just not a whole lot to be excited about there. It's a little hard for me to justify the Yankees being as big of a favorite as they are. If anything, I think I'd look at Tigers on the run line plus 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, you said all the values on the Tigers today, plus 145, and that's just disrespectful. And they've been playing the Yankees in some pretty close games so far in this series. You mentioned Pineda, new fresh start for him in a Tigers uniform. He's barreled up a lot last year, though. He'll get probably a little more relief playing out there in Detroit as far as weather and ballpark go. Both these teams really have excellent bullpens. They've really excelled that because, like you said, we don't trust Montgomery either. It's going to be, I think the weather's going to be pretty cold out there. We're all looking for Miggy to get his 3,000 hit. It feels to me like a Tigers win because I just have this thing. I almost always bet the team that's down or at risk, I should say, of being swept in the series on the last game of the series, especially if there's a ton of value, like the Tigers at plus 145, and especially if there is a narrative to that game. For instance, Miguel Cabrera getting 3,000 hits. It's purely a field play on this because it just seems to check all of those intangible boxes, but I am going to play on the Tigers today. I think they do steal one. I think they do avoid the sweep. And I am going to play them at plus 145. Again, guys, tail that one at your risk. Completely a field play. Good value. That's where all the value is. And I think they celebrate with a win and with another player entering the 3,000.
Yeah. I think I'll actually probably tell you on that on the run line, minus 105. I think that makes a ton of sense. And, one of the angles you've got me thinking about with Miguel going first 3,000 hit, you're probably going to have a lot bigger of a crowd than you normally would for a 1 p.m. game in Detroit. And I think that, one of the things Miguel Cabrera said after the game, they asked him about his 3 hits and getting so close to 3,000. And he literally said, he's like, I don't give a shit. I just want to win the game. We lost. I don't want to talk about it. So, I mean, I think that's a decent angle for sure.
Yeah. What a professional, right? Okay, last one we need to get in under the gun here, Dalton. We'll move real quick on this. 959-960 White Sox Guardians. Need to hurry this one up so we can get your bets in if you got one.
Yeah, I don't have a bet, so I'll defer to you if you do. But I think there's a similar story with both these starters. Both of them have looked great through their first 2 starts of the season, and both of them have been around by this specific opponent in the past. Plesac, 9 starts in his career against the White Sox, 2-4 with a 4.56 ERA. It's hard to say what you're going to get. I mean, I think the White Sox being a moderate favorite here makes sense. They have the better lineup. They have probably a little bit of a better bullpen still. Dylan Cease has a 7.13 in 4 starts at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Pitched there twice last year. Once it went terribly, once it went pretty well. I think both these starters are better than their numbers show against the opponent. It's a game that feels really high variance to me and not really one I want to get involved with.
Gotcha. So real quick, I am actually on a very small play. I'm taking the first 5 under 4. Cease obviously worse on the road than he has been at home. He's still walking more guys than he needs to. I believe he's still averaging over 4.5 walks right now per 9, but he's still getting the punch out so far. He's got 16, which is definitely up there so far in just the 10 innings that he's pitched. Plesac, solid, minimizes walks. So far, he's been pretty good this season. Really, I'm just looking for some Guardian regression because they just made Dallas Keuchel cry yesterday. And I don't think they can replicate that back-to-back, even though they did do that earlier in the season, hanging like 20-something runs or something like that in like 2 games. So they do have the power to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. It's not something we should bank on as something that's going to happen frequently. White Sox offense has stalled. We've got 2 better-than-average pitchers on the mound. It's a low number, but I like first 5 under 4. And, again, that's a very small play.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so I believe that covers our – Jesus, first pitch goes off. Sorry, guys. So that covers our 3 early games. Let's go ahead and jump back into the rotation order. I believe
we do have one more coming up at 12:35 Central in a little over 20 minutes. I don't know if we want to touch that one first.
No, you're exactly right. I just saw it as well. Jays and Sox. That's going to fall under 963 and 964. You're exactly right, my man. Oh, geez. Almost dead even here. Red Sox plus 100, Blue Jays minus 110, Over and under is set at 9. What do you got on that one, man?
Yeah, so it's an interesting game. I mean, I think you look at Kevin Gausman; he's coming off a career year in San Francisco last year, but he really hasn't looked the part so far. He's allowed 14 hits already in only 10 and 2/3 innings. Fenway's a really tough place to start on the road. We know how the ball flies there, especially during the day. I think it's tough because Boston has also been surprisingly quiet against righties so far this year. They're 24th in WRC plus in that split. Gausman does have quite a bit of experience at Fenway. He's made 7 starts there and 11 total appearances, but a lot of those were back in his early days with the Orioles. So I don't know how much you can really take from that. Probably nothing in terms of the stats, other than the fact that, he's probably somewhat accustomed to the backdrop there for whatever that's worth. But, again, this is one of those guys. He goes to San Francisco, has a career year. When he leaves, I don't know what to expect. That's an organization that tends to get the most out of a pitcher. I look at Tanner Houck. He's another guy that I just don't, he's a righty with good stuff, but 6 walks and only 9 innings pitched through his first 2 starts. That doesn't breed a ton of confidence to me. I think pitching at home, he could be a little more comfortable, but it's really hard to know what to expect from him. He had 2 starts against Toronto last year, and he was just okay. Nothing super notable, but I worry about his ability to throw strikes. I will say this: he threw 89 pitches his last time out. He's pretty well extended compared to most pitchers on the board. So they will probably try to ride him if he can. But I don't have a strong lean here. I think I lean a little bit to Boston in the first 5 innings because Gausman has looked so hittable this year. But Toronto's top 5 in wins in WRC plus against righties. They're top 6 in average against righties. I don't really want to get in front of that train.
Yeah, my only counter to that is the bats have failed to really get going. No more than 3 runs in their last 3. And the game before that was the one where they exploded in Minnesota. That might have been Hawk's last start, either him or Michael Wacha. He had a good game in that last matchup versus Minnesota. I think he only allowed 2 and no runs in over 5 innings pitched. So he had a good outing on that, but that's not nearly enough for me to back Tanner Houck today. I don't have a good feel on this game. Blue Jays have the hotter offense. Red Sox just feels like the play. Nothing really jumped out at me. Same as you pretty much, I think, as far as your numbers and your research. And I don't have much on it, man. We definitely need a bigger sample and body of work on Tanner Houck. And definitely we need to see if Trevor Gausman's best years were left behind him over there in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Right on. All right, so moving on, we let's see here. That was 963 and 964. I believe that now takes us to the no, it doesn't.
So I think if we wanted to jump back into rotation, it would be Diamondbacks.
Yeah. To be no 963. It would be Royals and Twins.
Okay, that's fine too.
Yeah. Okay, no, that actually gets us back in time order as well in scheduling. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so moving on, 965, 966. That is going to be the Twins visiting the Royals. The over and under is set at 8 with the under juiced minus 115. I've got a couple plays on this. What you got though, man?
I'll let you go ahead and lead. I've got a play here, but I'm interested to hear what you've got.
All right. So I remember being a fan in Houston and us getting Zach Greinke from Arizona. And we had a Greinke day and everything. And I think I might have a jersey laying around here somewhere. That was short-lived. He had a really good season for us. And then after that, man, his age just started showing. He was never an overpowering pitcher. He's always more of a movement. I wouldn't say a junk ball pitcher by any means, but he relied on a lot of soft contact. And even when we got him from Arizona, I mean, he really wasn't punching a whole lot of people out then, and that quickly went south for us. You just couldn't trust the guy after a few innings. He's just getting touched up all over the place. I don't think much is going to change now that he's got KC backdrop behind him. He's in a different uniform. I think this is a good chance to buy low on him because the price to fade him is going to be a lot higher later in the season. From what I saw and from what I know of Kansas City, not necessarily getting the most out of their pitchers like Houston did, with Brent Strom when our pitching coach and us sending all of our great guys out to, New York and whatnot. I think this is a good opportunity to go ahead and take the Twins at a very palatable minus 115, minus 18, whatever you're looking at right now. I know the Twinkies offense hasn't been extremely trustworthy, but I think this is a good get right spot for them. The Royals, they're just not hitting for power, or they're just not going to match. They're just not going to match bat for bat. They're going to have the advantage on the bullpen side, and the Twins are definitely going to have the advantage on the mound. I mean, Joe Ryan, that guy is just lightning, man. He is just throwing gas up there. 7 or 8 starts. He's striking everyone out, though. He's averaging way more than 10 per 9. So far, he's looking great this season, too. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's going to be a stud for Minnesota. So, advantage offense, advantage started pitching. As long as they get a big enough lead, hopefully the Twins bullpen doesn't blow it. But to be safe, I'm on Twins first 5 and the Twins money line.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I'm probably a little bit higher on Greinke than you are. I think there's a little bit of probably sour grapes from his time in Houston, but I think when I look at Greinke, he has looked pretty good so far this year. I think he's one of those guys where the stuff is not super impressive anymore, obviously. But he has been pretty steady. He's pitched into the 6th in both games so far this year. He's allowed 3 total earned. I don't think he's going to come out and compete for a Cy Young, but I think he can keep them competitive most starts at the very least. I actually like a first 5 under here. To echo a lot of what you said on Joe Ryan, he was my AL Rookie of the Year pick at 17-1 preseason. They're really high on him in Minnesota. The fact that he made an opening day start as a rookie there, I think speaks volumes to how they view him. And he's backed it up. I mean, his last start at Fenway, he shoved over 6 innings. And I think he's the real deal. And I think the Kansas City lineup's the worst one he's faced so far this year. I think he could pitch deep into that game and really not allow much. So, to me, I think if this first 5 under 4 doesn't come home, it'll be because the Twins put it on Greinke, which could happen. But to me, it feels a little more likely that we end up something like 2-0 Minnesota, or just kind of a tight, low scoring game through 5. So, and as you know, early in the season, I am targeting unders where I can find them. So, this is one where we've got a great starter in Ryan, a guy who has looked decent out so far in Greinke. I'll take first 5 under 4.
Sounds good, my man. Unfortunately, I will not tell you on that one. I think the Twinkies run old Greinke off pretty quick, and hopefully they make quick work of him. But if they don't, then I can still cash my first 5 and can still cash my game, and we'll go out for some beers after that.
Sounds good.
Next up, we got 967, 968. The Orioles play the A's. I over and under set at 7.5, and I don't have much on this. Kind of a gross matchup. The values with the A's, as best I can tell from my model and from just looking at straight numbers, just because the Orioles are so terrible. You really don't want to take them unless you're getting some crazy value. But I don't have a play on this one, so this one's all yours, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for this series to just be over. There's not a whole lot interesting about it. Tyler Wells for Baltimore, he got killed by Tampa in one start this year, but then threw 4 shutout innings against the Yankees. Baltimore's gone under in every single game this year. They're 11-0 to the under. But I think the number is starting to catch up with that. I mean, a game between Tyler Wells and Paul Blackburn being lined at 7.5. I don't think you could make an argument that that's too high. I get these offenses aren't good, but I mean, come on. I think at this point the books are catching on to that, and I think they just want a Baltimore over to cash at some point. I think Tyler Wells, you don't know what you're going to get from him. He was a very pedestrian reliever all season for Baltimore last year. They're testing him out as a starter, mostly because they just don't have anybody. He threw 2 awful innings against Oakland last April, for whatever that's worth. So not a ton to go off of. Paul Blackburn has looked pretty good in back-to-back road starts for Oakland. I think coming home now, pitching in that cavernous, Mount Davis ballpark, it could work pretty well for him. I think if there is value in this game, it's probably on Oakland in the first 5 innings. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is bottom of the barrel stuff. It's really hard to know what you're going to get from either one of these offenses, and I don't really want to back either one to score. But if you feel like playing this game, I would take Oakland on the first 5-run line.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a pretty decent price. You're only laying minus 120. Excuse me. You're only laying minus 120 right now. Oh, just a quick note on that Minnesota game. When I had sent that information, it was last night at 118. It's already ballooned up to 145. So best number on that came and went. But again, I still like the Twins. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I might put just a little something on there just because I like Blackburn, and I'm just really tempted to be the first person who cashes, on the first over for the Baltimore series, for Baltimore Orioles this season. That's just a fun conversation point at the bar, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'll throw some pizza money on the first 5. It's palatable. Blackburn greater than Wells. Athletics higher upside than the Orioles hitters. They're at home. Current form, they're both terrible. So again, you get a little more higher ceiling with Oakland. So I'm with you on that. Type in pizza money on that one. All right, moving on. Rotation number 969, 970. The Rangers visit the Mariners. Total is set at 8. And now that we're through some of the games that are going to jump on, before we jump into that one, do you want to talk about how you did on Tuesday? And
yeah, Tuesday went poorly. Went 2-5. Had a couple bad breaks and also just some bad reads. So we'll be looking to improve on it. I'm doing winning record overall, but losing record on the YouTube show. So I got to make that right.
All right. The site plays went well, though. I saw you touting some more success at sportsmapelite.com. And by the way, guys, Dalton and I are both handicappers for sportsmapelite.com. That's sportsmapelite.com. $19.99 gets you 30 days full access. All of my premium plays, including write-ups, as well as Dalton. I know we are both, even though we both had a rough Tuesday on the show, we are crushing it on the Sports Map Elite site. And the rest of the guys are doing real well. I know Addison's doing real well at the English Premier League. Joe Spano and Chris Dell are absolutely annihilating the NBA playoffs right now. I played a bunch of Chris Dell's Zurich Classics this morning, so I'm looking forward to that in that wacky format. And Fred Fowler has all of your horse racing picks and your NHL picks, and Alexandra Galtney is also on there as well, picking out winners in the NHL. So just a quick note on that, if that's something y'all want to see all of our premium stuff on. Yeah, man, I didn't have a good one either. I think I went 3-5. I hit a lot of my multi-unit stuff, but I invested way too much on the Houston and LA series. I know you and I were both really high on that game, and it just did not work out. That was bad. That was real bad. Last night, though, I did do some damage. I cashed both plays for the Rangers and Mariners. Mariners first 5, Mariners money line. So that was a nice little 5-unit add to my bankroll. But now we get them tonight. So what you got on this game, my man?
Yeah, I don't have a bet on this game. I've got a lot of notes. You got two lefties going at it here. A couple teams who are obviously very familiar with each other. Marco Gonzalez, this is going to be his 17th career start against the Rangers, I believe. He had a really interesting season in this matchup last year. He got absolutely annihilated. He gave up 7 runs and 3 1/3 in his start against them in July, and then turned around and faced them 3 times within 2 weeks in August, through 20 1/3 innings, only allowing 2 runs. Nice. So as far as, what he's done in this matchup and projecting what to expect, I don't think there's a lot to take from that. It seems like one of those things that could go really well or really poorly. The Rangers were not great against left-handed pitching last year, but have been awesome against left-handed pitching this year. They're top 5 in basically every category. I just find Marco Gonzalez really hard to handicap. He sometimes looks like he can throw a no-hitter, and other times, his 89-mile-an-hour fastball is super gettable. So I don't know what to do with him. Taylor Hearn, this is his first full season as a starting pitcher. He got worked into the rotation in the second half of last season. And, he had a 2.92 ERA last August, and then turned around with an ERA over 6.5 in September. He does not have good career numbers against Seattle. An ERA over 6, an ERA over 7 at T-Mobile Park. So, I'm not seeing a ton of reason to feel good about Taylor Hearn either. Hasn't, I don't know how deep into the game he's really going to get, but Seattle's also been terrible against left-handed pitchers early in the season.
Right.
If you think about it, their big offensive ad was Jesse Winker.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing he doesn't do is hit lefties. So it's like the purest of pure stayaways for me. I think Seattle as a favorite at home makes sense. I don't think they should be any bigger of a favorite than they are.
Yeah, I kind of want to dive into that a little more. At this point, you're just looking at fading teams like the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Rangers. The Rangers are just carrying the worst ERA in their combined for the starters, and the worst ERA for the bullpen as well. And they're just giving up a ton, but they're also hitting the ball as well. So for that reason, you're not getting some of these crazy prices to fade them like you are with Baltimore, like you are with Cincinnati or Arizona. So that makes it interesting because they're priced, they're priced heavy as favorites, but not enough to where you cannot still afford to fade them, especially against teams like the Mariners, who are probably going to finish second or third in the AL West. You want to find those opportunities because, again, even if you're wrong, it's not going to cost you a whole lot on the miss. And eventually the market's going to catch up. The Rangers are going to lose, more games than they're going to win. They're probably going to lose, somewhere around 85, 95 games, somewhere around there. So before the price on those starts becoming inflated to the point where you just have to, find some other ancillary bets around them to fade them, now's the time to kind of take advantage. That's what I did yesterday. And if you've been just fading the Rangers the past 4 or 5 games, then you've been making a lot of money. I think they've won 1 in their last 6. So, yeah, I'll probably do a little farther dive into that one. I'll probably put it up on sportsmapelite.com. But I believe that's actually going to close us out. We had a short slate today? We didn't miss any games, did we?
We've got a bunch that we missed, actually.
What the heck?
So because we started rotation order around 9:59, the rotation started at 9:51, and then we actually skipped Diamondbacks, Nationals, Cardinals, Marlins. So we got a few more to get to.
Yeah, I apologize, man. You are right. I usually have this in rotation order, but I know that we texted each other at the last minute and be like, "Hey, man, we got to switch this thing up so we get some people some bets." And normally we start at 2:00 just to make sure that we catch all the night games, but I think we have 3 night games tonight. So, man, you are right. I'm like, there's no way we're done in 30 minutes. So
yeah, we got a few more.
Yeah. That being said, let's go ahead and jump back to the beginning of the rotation. That'd be 951, 952, correct?
So we touched on that one. That was Giants, Mets, and then we've got 953, 954, which is Diamondbacks, Nationals.
Right. I thought we covered that one. I apologize. We did not. You're right. I don't have any notes on this one. So this is all you, Dalton. What you got?
Sure. Yeah, I've actually got a play here. I like the first 5 innings under 4.5. And it's a little bit of a tricky one when you look at it at face value. I don't think you look at Zach Davies and Jake Rogers and think under, but I'll walk you through why I do. Davies, he looked pretty good in his first start against San Diego and then did not look very good against the Mets. Those are 2 looks that are a lot better than what you're going to see thrown out there by Washington. I think that significant downgrade provides a little bit of value with Davies. This is a veteran guy who, he's 3-0, ERA under 3 in 5 starts against Washington, 2-0 with an ERA right around 1 at Nationals Park in his career. He's a guy that, look, Zach Davies is not going to blow anybody away. He's going to go out there and toss stuff in the 80s for most of the day, but he's what I would call kind of like a pro pitcher where he's all finesse, but I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. And Washington's lineup does not instill a lot of fear. It's hard to imagine them blowing me up early. And on the other side, I'm actually pretty impressed with this kid, Jake Rogers, for Washington. He pitched into the 6th inning, really strong outing at Atlanta's last time out. He was quietly quite a good starting pitcher last season when they brought him up. ERA, right around 3. He went over 5 innings in 5 of his 6 starts, which is just not something that I would have expected from a kid who got called up that late. And obviously, anytime you're getting to face Arizona, that's a plus matchup for a starting pitcher. I think he's building off of momentum against Atlanta. So to me, I think first 5. I actually got the first 5 on this under 5. Excuse me, not 4.5. You would have to have a pretty pretty poor starting pitching matchup for me to not like a first 5 under 5 with these two offenses. So the fact that I think we've got a middling to decent starting pitching matchup with these two offenses, I don't know. I mean, it just hits me as the right spot to play an under 5 in the first 5 innings.
Yeah, so you're thinking this is more of just a spot where it's just, I mean, the value's there. The value is there with these two offenses. Don't really need to dig too deep. I mean, 5 is a big number for two teams that, like you said, just aren't lighting it up, and two halfway decent pitchers. All right, yeah, I like that. We'll go in under 5 on that one. I will tell you on that one, my friend. And my book is acting up. Sorry, bear with me just 1 second. And I'll jot that in. Sweet. All right, you're exactly right, man. I caught back up now. I'm all over the place, I guess. Rotation number 955, 956. The Cardinals in town to play the Marlins. Marlins currently laying minus 125. Cardinals plus 115. The over and under is set at 7.5. Now, I am going to have a play on this one that I'm feeling pretty good about, and I'm going to put this over on Sports Map Elite as well. What you think about Pablo Lopez? Pretty damn good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good pitcher. Yeah,
he's been pretty spectacular. He's only got 3 starts, but he's still posting that sub-1 ERA. I know the Phillies were slumping, but he's still slumping at the time. I think it's pretty much still slumping. But he shut them out, 5 1 innings pitch. He was solid last year too. He was limited because he was on the IL a little bit more than they wanted him to, but he still posted a 2.34 ERA at home. And the guy, he's just got just electric stuff, man. His strikeouts per 9's over 10, like 10.4. I mean, he just makes a bunch of hitters miss. On the other side, Jordan Hicks, his first career start. I think he came out of the bullpen. He was a bullpen pitcher. That's right. Only had like 4 innings and 2 relief pitches. I mean, just not a big sample size at all. They're hoping this is a guy that's going to be a middle of the rotation type guy. Probably goes 3 innings or 50 pitches, whichever goes first. It's hard to get behind the Miami offense right now. I think they've got 1 run in their past couple of games. They had that explosion versus Philly, but if you take that out, they've averaged less than a run in their last 5. That being said, I think they still get after Hicks today and the Cardinals bullpen that's been somewhat depleted. This is a good get-right spot for the Fish to win one at home. I think they have a superior advantage on the mound. I'm feeling pretty confident about the Miami first 5. The money line's pretty palatable, only minus 130. That's going to be my play on that game. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I outright disagree, but I disagree a little. And I'll kind of talk through it. So Hicks, he's had 2 appearances all season. Both of them were 2 innings. His last one, he threw 40 pitches against Milwaukee. Their intention has been to make him a starter, and he was scheduled to start a game that got rained out. I think you're right that tonight you're probably looking at 45 to 55 pitches from him. And, I was watching an interview with Oli Marmol about it, their manager. He was saying that he wants to be careful with how many ups and downs they're doing with Hicks. I don't think you're going to see him out there in the past, like maybe the 3rd or 4th inning, if that. I think he'll probably go once through the lineup. That being said, the stuff with Jordan Hicks, I mean, it's just electric. He's going to go out there and throw 102. And I know this Miami lineup has been good against right-handed pitching in the early going this year. I said it on Tuesday. I am not bought in on this offense. And I think – you walk through some of the reasons why, but I really wanted to play a first 5 under here, but 3.5 is, that's just not a number I want to touch. It's too low. The books are ahead of me on it. So I don't have a play there. I think I'm a little higher on Hicks. I think that his 3 innings are going to be pretty darn effective. I'd be surprised if Miami had a run, let alone more than 1. And then, behind that, St. Louis comes in with an ERA that St. Louis's bullpen comes in with an ERA under 2. They've been absolutely lights out. They have a ton of good arms in there. So it's when I've got a guy coming in for the first time through the lineup who I think is going to shove, partially just because he's a righty, throws 102, and it's just hard for me to see Miami catching up. I think Miami's going to struggle to score. I'm as high on Pablo Lopez as you are, though. I mean, he's been absolutely lights out. His changeup is disgusting. I think the problem that I'm having is when if I'm going to bet the Marlins as a favorite against a team that I think has a better lineup and a better bullpen, I need to absolutely love the pitching matchup. And I like the pitching matchup. I'm not sure I love it. I think it's slightly closer to a wash. And so if anything, I would lean St. Louis as a dog, just because I think as the game wears on, I trust St. Louis and their bullpen a bit more to put runs on the board. But overall, it's a stay away from me.
No, I think we are of the same mind as far as that. Obviously, you're much higher on Hicks and what you've seen so far. I am not. I am banking on overpowering performance from Lopez, which we both agree is probably in the cards. I think you're thinking Hicks is going to hold his own. It feels like a good get right spot for this Miami offense right now, even though collectively I think they're hitting below the Mendoza line still. So, like you said, the play is probably Cardinals full game, but I like the Miami first five. So, sounds like we're pretty much in agreement on that. I guess as the season goes on, we'll see. We'll see what Mr. Hicks does for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to play Miami first five is a great angle for it. One other note on Lopez that I really like for him today: for his career, his ERA is a full 2 runs lower at home at Marlins Park. He loves pitching there. So just something to keep an eye on.
No, 2.34 last season. Again, limited starts. He was hurt a lot, but that was also something that's encouraging to see. Typically, when you have pitchers that are hurt a lot, unless you're like a Justin Verlander or somebody like that, where you can just be hurt and take a year off and come back and still be dominating, just a freak like that, then it usually doesn't go well for pitchers. And man, you can name 20 pitchers off the top of your head. It was just never right after they went on disabled for a while. Good. I think Lopez is definitely a talent. One of the few bright spots for this Miami Marlins team this season. Moving on, let's talk about the Pirates and Cubs, rotation 957, 958. The Pirates plus 125 visiting Wrigley, Cubs laying minus 140. The over and under is at 9 with the under juiced minus 120. I forgot to check the weather on this one. I didn't have a total until about 11 this morning. Have you checked it yet? I have not had the opportunity.
Yeah, 62 degrees, wind blowing a little over 7 miles an hour left to right. So by Wrigley standards, nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Yeah, that's nothing at all. So we're not going to get a whole lot of wind interference on this one. Oh, I mean, man, what can you say about that Cubbies offense? I definitely didn't see that coming. Hitting 4 runs or more last 9 and 11. 4 starters hitting over 300. Seiya Suzuki already looking like the lock for National League Rookie of the Year. I mean, the Cubbies are just mashing right now. I see that's why they're probably laying the minus 140 because, the other team does say Pittsburgh across their chests. I don't know if the value is necessarily with the Cubs, though. Mark Leiter Jr. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, so quick note, Cubs I last saw up to 161. So I've seen money coming in on them this morning.
Gotcha. So I'm sorry. I should probably preface by saying that all of these are opening lines that I'm usually on the first thing last night. So I apologize. You're right. That's been a huge 20-cent swing. Thanks for making us aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, because I did the same thing. I did all my initial work on it last night, so I've got minus 140 written here as well. Yeah, as far as Mark Leiter Jr., I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to project this guy. He's had 1 start this year and got absolutely just stomped at Coors Field. But again, that's Coors Field. It was a day game. I mean, I don't know how much you're supposed to punish him for that, right? I mean, obviously it's not you're not going to reward him for it, but I don't really know what to make of that. And before that, the last time he pitched in the big leagues was 2018. So he's kind of a wait and see guy for me. I think if you want to target this game, the way I would do it is the Cubs team total. Mm-hmm. Bryce Wilson starting for the Pirates. He's basically a Braves castaway, a guy Atlanta just tossed aside, and now he's getting consistent rotation opportunities in Pittsburgh. But the Cubs are really hot against right-handed pitching early in the season. They're fifth in average against righties. Bryce Wilson has 2 starts in his career at Wrigley. He's given up 3 homers, ERA at almost 6, an ERA over 7 against the Cubs over 3 starts for his career. And that's a Cubs lineup that I think with Seiya Suzuki just got a little bit better than it was last year. He hasn't gone more than 4 1/3 in his starts yet this year. So you're probably looking at 4 or 5 innings at least of that Pirates bullpen getting in the game. Wilson threw 77 pitches last time out, so maybe they try to extend him to 85. But how deep do we really think he gets on that count? I'm not that confident in him. So I don't think I can really project anything with Leiter Jr. I'm going to stay away from the game lines here. But Cubs team total over 4.5 is very tempting to me, and I'm probably going to be playing that.
Yeah, I know you're getting a good number on it right now. Our partner BetUS, our partner offshore book at least, I'm looking at minus 105 on over 4.5. So I think that's definitely worth a look-see. And if we want, we could dive in that a little early, dive in that a little more before tonight, see if maybe the winds change or what have you. But over 4.5. How do you not still roll with this Cubs offense right now, especially with, like you said, unproven commodity like Wilson on the mound. So I'd be with you on that one over 4.5. I think it's a good look.
Sounds good. So that is the full rotation of games. Now we've touched them all.
Yes, we touched White Sox Guardians already. Yes, you're exactly right. Okay, man. I'm like right in the middle of my Word doc. I'm like, geez, this got so screwed up today. Life got in the way, though. I apologize. All right. I am going to post our best bets on the SportsMap Elite website. And if you would like, you can feel free to go over there, sportsmapelite.com. $19.99 is full access for all of our stuff today. Or you can just check out our episode on YouTube. It should be up on the SportsMap Elite YouTube channel in about 10 or 15 minutes. So besides that, is there any best bets or any other information you want to touch on before we take off, Dalton?
Not off the top of my head. One other thing that I'm kind of looking at, I haven't decided whether I'm going to play it yet. A no-run first inning bet on Washington, Arizona. Just 2 really poor offenses, 2 starters that I'm a little higher on than the market. The no on that is at minus 120. I haven't decided fully if I'm going to bet that yet, but that's definitely under consideration for me. Other than that, I've got 5 bets from the show. I've got Tigers run line plus 1.5, Giants money line plus 127, Twins Royals first 5 innings under 4, D-backs Nationals first 5 innings under 5, Cubs team total over 4.5.
Beautiful. And for myself, I will be going Miami Marlins first 5 money line. Are you there?
Yeah.
What on earth is that?
I have no idea.
Whoa, I apologize. We had some interference there. Damn you, ads. They should really pay us money before they pull something like that. Sorry, Miami Marlins first 5 money line and minus 130. I do like that Cubs team total over 4.5 because I'm getting a good number at minus 105. I'm very small on the White Sox and Guardians first 5 under 4. I did take the Tigers, which that game's already in progress, plus 145. And I am on a couple plays for Twins and Royals. Twins first 5, Twins money line. And I believe that's all I got. And I'll be diving into the Seattle and Texas game this evening, and that'll probably be over at SportsMap Elite.
Sounds good.
All right, my man. Well, if there's nothing else, then thank you for your time today, Dalton. I believe that's going to cover us, and we'll be back next Tuesday. So until then, feel free to reach out. My Twitter handle is BC_Houston1, and Dalton is at Dalton J. Brown. Catch us over at Sports Map Elite, and good luck tonight.